Thank you, Pop-Up Choir and Steve. Thank you, Alex, for your reflection. And thank you to Scott Dreher for being the highest bidder on the auction item to choose a sermon topic last spring. And this is it. This is what Scott wanted us to talk about today. I always love offering that as an auction item because I get just such a wide variety of requests. And Scott came into my office. He said, I don't think this has to be a long conversation. Music. There's a lot there. There's so much possibility, almost too much possibility in the concept of music. So Scott and I did spend some time boiling it down. And today I want to think about three things when we think about music as a community. So what is important about music? What does it do for us? That's number one. Number two, the idea that music is a group thing. It's a group activity. And three is that each type of music is not going to be for everyone. And why is that? So starting with number one, why is music important? What does it do for us? As the video talked about a moment ago, music provides an emotional conduit. It bypasses our frontal lobe in a way and sort of connects straight to our emotional centers in a similar way that smell does. Have you ever noticed that if you smell something, you're right back in your grandmother's house? Music has a similar connection. It also helps us by doing that, by connecting to our emotional centers. It helps us to celebrate, to mourn, and to fight. So it has a real power. And I want to tell you this story from the Hebrew Bible of when Moses led the people, the Israelite people, across the Red Sea. They had to flee quickly. Pharaoh had finally that God had whispered and Pharaoh had changed his mind and over again, and the people were not safe. And finally, God said, if you put your staff into the water, the sea will part, you can get across. They had to get the word out quickly. And they didn't have much time, the Israelites, to pack, right? If you can imagine. We always think about this, like, oh, they parted the sea and they all went through. They had to pack up bundles and donkeys, and the story tells us, the Passover story tells us that they had to do it so quickly that they didn't have time for their bread to rise, which is why in Passover, unleavened bread is such an important symbol, matzah and things like that. But when they get to the other side, they escape. The sea closes up, swallows up Pharaoh's army. They're free. They know they're free. Miriam, Moses' sister, takes the women, and they go and they sing and they dance and they drum. And it says this in the Hebrew Bible. They all grab their drums, which means, friends, they packed their drums. Isn't that amazing? We think about this story and okay, they all went and they drummed, which means they didn't have enough time to let their bread rise, but they had enough time to remember to bring their musical instruments with them, which I just think is an incredible ancient story of the power of music in helping us to celebrate. They knew they were a free people, and the first thing they did was sing and drum. Celebration and music is necessary. And so going back to that memory piece, that part where it's stored in your mind, I want to tell you a quick story about how my two sisters-in-law who are younger than me decided for my 40th birthday that they would take me this past summer to see New Kids on the Block. And they were not good. But Salt and Peppa were there with them, and they were amazing. And they did all their hits, and I didn't even remember that they had multiple hits, but they did. And I was at this concert, and they started playing the song Shoop. Any of my younger folks here? Shoop? Okay. Apparently, this is something I didn't know about myself, apparently I know every word to the song Shoop. Who would have known? If you asked me to do it right now, I wouldn't be able to do it. But if you play that song, apparently I know every lyric. And I was immediately back in high school, wearing my baggy overalls. Songs connect us to where you were when When you first fell in love, you remember that song? When you had that terrible breakup. Prom, whether that was a good memory or a not good memory, you remember that song. It also helps connect us to our values. Maybe there was a march or a rally that you were at where everyone sang a song, or your favorite song here from the fellowship or from your childhood church. So that's why music is so important. It just really taps in to our emotional centers, and it helps us tap into emotions that we might not be able to easily access. He talks about getting, in the video, he talked about getting calmer, right? Lullabies. For me, I have a hard time accessing anger naturally. And I remember having a friend, I had a bad breakup in seminary, and she said, "You need to be mad about this." I was like, "I can't, I'm just sad." So she put on some angry music. It's a little metal. Yeah, and I got mad. It was amazing how easily I was able to tap into that feeling that I was not able to tap into before. That's why we sing songs at justice rallies, to sort of collectively move us forward. Which brings us to the second point. Music is a group thing. Cohorts of people define themselves by their music, whether it's genre. If you're a rock fan, or a metal fan, or a country fan, or a classical fan. And also, cohorts of people define themselves generationally by their music. Very clear what generations we fall in, because we know that was the best music, right? Kids today, they don't make music like that anymore. When I was one of the ministers in Maryland, Pete Seeger, the beloved folk singer, died. And so I decided to honor Pete by doing a Wonder Box, and inside the Wonder Box we had a hammer, and we all sang "If I Had a Hammer." And I put the words up on the screen, and I talked about how the hammer could be a tool or a weapon, and things like that. And then someone after the service came up to me, and I'm not going to tell you their generation or their race, but I bet you can guess. They said, "Why don't we sing more Pete Seeger here? Everybody knows Pete Seeger." And I was standing there, I was in my mid-20s, and I was standing there with the assistant minister of that church, who was in his 40s and is a black man. And I said, I don't know all Pete Seeger. I mean, I know who he was, but I don't know all his songs. And John, standing next to me, said, "I don't either." Right? There's a cohort difference there. For me, generationally, for him, culturally. And this person was shocked that we could not all know Pete Seeger. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't know Pete Seeger, but we should also know Salt and Pepper, right? So music, but by doing that, by creating these cohorts, music helps us feel connected to other people. And have you ever been at a concert? You know, that moment where the singer puts his microphone out like this and everybody sings along, right? We're in this together. Or whether we're singing here at the fellowship. How many of you had never sang that hymn we just sang, "Sing to the Power"? Anybody? Yeah, see? And when we did it anyway, we did it together. I loved what Joel said, the song is in your heart, right? It helps to have a really great accompanist as well. And even if you're singing alone, you're singing in your room, you're singing in your car, you're remembering a group experience. You're remembering that there are other people who love this song along with you. And that is part of that group connectedness. And that brings me back to the third point. Each type of music is not going to be for everyone. Because it is so personal, because it bypasses our frontal lobes, because it connects us to these important emotions and memories, because it's connected to group identity, each of us is not going to tap into every song the same way. There's no way, that's not possible. So each song is going to resonate differently with us. Before I left on my medical leave, I attended a week-long training with a worship consultant named Marcia McPhee, and learned a lot from Marcia, and we're going to be implementing some of her really cool strategies in worship in the coming months. But at that training, we discussed music a lot. You cannot go to worship training and not talk about music. And we explored the different types of people, different groups of people, and she had names for these types, but those aren't important here. But they described the different types of people. There's the group that likes everything in perfect order. There's those who like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The people who are kind of willing to, I think she called them the squirrels. Squirrel? There's those people who are high energy, go, go, go. And then the people who are kind of lower energy, just want to go with the flow. Some people prefer introspective music, music that allows them to go inward, while other people prefer outward or outgoing or interpersonally connecting music. Some people will say to you after the service, me, not you, me or Steve, man, we really worship today. And what they mean by that is we did the thing that I feel most connected to, right? Some people will say that when we sang some really beautiful, quiet, meditative songs. And other people will say it when we clap and dance. When I was in seminary, I learned a statistic that in a healthy, vibrant congregation, 70% of what we do should really feed you, and 30% won't. The 70-30 rule. Another way to think of that is that at any given moment, 70% of you are going to just love what we're doing, and 30% won't. But ideally, if our services provide enough diversity through readings, videos, reflections, music, sermons, times for children, etc., you will get what you need. You will get some of that 70% in every service. So when you are feeling it, when you are like, this sermon is killing it, or man, Alex really nailed that, or that song is it, when you are feeling that, go with it, enjoy it, love it. And when you aren't, when you're like, can we not with this sermon? Is it still going on? Or that song, I hate that song. Consider that a gift to someone else in the room. It's an act of generosity because someone is getting something out of it. I promise. I promise. You know why I know? Because you tell me when you love it or don't love it. And that's great. That's wonderful. We would not be a healthy, diverse congregation if every single one of you loved every single thing. That would be an exclusive, walled community. So I want to just encourage you to just see that part, whether it's a song or something else, as an act of generosity. So I'm going to just do a little experiment here, and Steve and I are crossing our fingers that it works. I'm going to give you 3 songs. Steve's going to play them just a little bit so you can remember what they are, and then I'm going to say them again, and I'm going to have you tell me which one would be the one that lit you up. Okay, so the choices are Meditation on Breathing.
Oh, is that me?
That's you.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Okay, that's number 1, Meditation on Breathing. Number 2, Blue Boat Home.
Oh, I have it in the wrong order. Sorry. Okay. Let's see.
And number 3, Fire of Commitment.
Okay. New key.
No problem here, Steve.
Huh?
No rush. Just go ahead. I'm giving
been
him like
told-
the 3 hardest songs to sing.
Sorry,
to play
I
here.
was told once that I was playing a hymn simultaneously too fast and too slow. So here we go. From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from
commitment. Okay, so meditation on breathing, blue boat home, or fire of commitment. Think in your head which one lights you up, and I'm going to have you raise your hand. If you are a meditation on breathing fan, look at that. Okay, now if you're a blue boat home fan, oh, some of you are voting repeatedly. Okay, and now, are you a fire of commitment fan? I see you, Suzanne. All right, good job, everyone. So do you see that not everyone raised their hand for each one, except Suzanne? Yeah, but each of us is going to resonate with something maybe a little different. Fire of commitment is that kind of go. When the fire of commitment, like we all need to break out our lighters, you know? But meditation on breathing is introspective, right? So we're gonna have differences among us. Today we actually chose two very different hymns to sing specifically for that reason. The one that we sang earlier, I Want at My Memorial Service. I love that song, it's so beautiful. And the one we're gonna sing in a little while is like a dance song. So you have cards and pens near you. I encourage you to take one, maybe share with someone if you need to, or grab one when someone doesn't have it. And I would like you to write down a song that you want us to sing or hear this year at the fellowship. They can be hymns or popular music. Or obscure music. Yes. Doesn't have to be popular, but it doesn't have to be a hymn either. What's something that you love that you want to hear this year at the fellowship if copyright was no issue? And it won't be for us. So while you're doing that, in a moment I'm going to have the ushers come and with baskets and collect those cards so that Steve and I can get some inspiration from you. But while you're writing, I just want you to remember that what you're writing is probably not the same as what someone near you is writing. That they're not all going to be your favorite, and that's okay. Ideally, if we do our job well, that they will help you connect. They'll help you connect to each other. They will help you connect to our message. They will help you connect to the purpose of our being together on Sunday mornings. Because music is a powerful connector of people, ideas, memories, and emotions. So as we remember our purpose together, which is to lift each other up, to support each other, to provide moments of inspiration, connection, and healing that we can take with us throughout the week, let's remember the power of music in helping us to do that, in helping us to sing together, to clap, to dance, to hum, and all the ways that we need to connect with the rhythms and melodies of our lives. Amen. And may it be so.